Milky Way beginning. The first time I laid eyes on her, I knew the universe had shifted. Not metaphorically, literally. Space seemed smaller, the air thicker, and somehow the stars shone differently. The alien princess, with silver blue hair cascading over a uniform that gleamed like liquid moonlight, walked into the courtyard with a presence that demanded attention. Her friends flanked her, whispering softly to one another, their laughter like melodic chimes across the alien palace grounds. I was nothing more than a visitor, an envoy from Earth sent to observe and report on intergalactic politics. Humans were curious, yes, but we were rarely welcomed in places like this. Aurelia, her homeworld, was known for its strict social hierarchies and the almost sacred rituals surrounding royalty. Yet here I was, and there she was, looking straight at me. Froze. Her piercing violet eyes scanned the crowd, found mine, and something unspoken passed between us. A flicker of recognition. Curiosity, perhaps amusement. Then, in a moment so quiet that no one but her closest attendants seemed to notice, she leaned toward her friends and whispered something. I couldn't hear it. Not yet. But the way they looked at me afterward, the way their eyes widened and their smiles became secretive smirks, made my stomach knot with confusion. Moments later, one of them tilted her head toward me and whispered something inaudible. But the princess's hand hovered slightly in my direction. And then, in that subtle gesture, I understood. She had chosen me. Not the palace guards. Not the diplomats. Not the ambitious nobles jostling for influence. Me. I didn't know how to process it. Shooting star middle. The days that followed were a mixture of awe, danger, and disorientation. My official duties were simple. Observe, record, and report. Yet every time the princess appeared, everything else became meaningless. At the palace, courtiers whispered behind hands, and I began to notice a strange pattern. Whenever she passed, eyes shifted toward me, conversations paused, and even the guards seemed to relax slightly, as if her attention alone dictated the flow of power. One evening, after a ceremonial feast, the princess beckoned me to the palace gardens. Lanterns floated in the air, illuminating paths lined with crystalline flora that shimmered in colors humans didn't have names for. The air smelled faintly metallic, sweet, and electric all at once. You are awake to more than you realize, she said softly, voice melodic, carrying just the right mixture of command and intimacy. I'm just trying to keep up, I admitted, my hands nervously clutching my data pad. She laughed lightly, a sound like wind chimes caught in a gentle breeze. No, you are awake to me. That is enough. I blinked. To you. Yes. She stepped closer. When I saw you in the courtyard, I knew. There is a resonance between us. Bond. Something beyond my people, beyond your understanding. But it is real. I didn't know what to say. A bond. Yes. My people have ways of recognizing mates. Not by decree, not by ceremony, but by instinct. You are it. I whispered it to my friends because it was my truth, even before I spoke it aloud. Her eyes glimmered, earnest and unyielding. For the first time I felt the weight of choice, hers and mine. You chose me, I said, disbelief threading my words. I did. And now you must choose as well. The palace gardens felt suddenly smaller, more intimate. The air around us seemed to hum, as if the resonance she described wasn't just metaphorical. My heart pounded in my chest, and the stars above flickered in acknowledgement. I don't know if I stumbled. You will know, she whispered. The bond speaks to those who listen. And somehow I did. The next day, whispers of my selection spread through the palace. Some courtiers were scandalized, others intrigued, a few quietly thrilled at the breaking of ancient protocol. But for me it was never about politics or reputation, it was about her. Later, I was brought to the Hall of Mates, a secluded chamber reserved for individuals chosen by royalty. The room shimmered with light that seemed to respond to thought and emotion. Crystals floated midair, glowing brighter as the bond began to form. The princess stepped forward and placed her hand on mine. A warmth surged through me, like electricity flowing through veins, connecting us in ways I didn't think possible. I could feel her thoughts, not all, just enough. Curiosity, playfulness, concern, and something deeper, almost ancient. "This is real," she whispered. "You feel it too, don't you?" I nodded, stunned. I do." "Then it is decided," she said, her voice carrying both certainty and tenderness. "We are mates. Bound not by law, not by expectation, but by choice." And with that, the palace seemed to shift. Guards and attendants gave us a wide berth, as if instinctively understanding the significance. The bond had not only connected us, it had shifted the social dynamics of the entire court. High-voltage challenge and conflict. Not everyone was pleased. Aurelia's nobles were conservative, and the idea of a human bonding with the princess was a threat to centuries of lineage and ritual. Secret meetings were held. Some whispered of sabotaging me, others of forcing the princess to reject her choice. One night, as I returned to the quarters the princess had arranged for me, a group of palace guards intercepted me. Their weapons shimmered with energy pulses, and I realized they intended harm. "Step aside," I said, voice steady though my heart raced. "Humans are forbidden from palace grounds," one growled. "You cannot bond with a princess and survive." Before they could attack, a familiar presence filled the corridor. Lysera stepped forward, her hand glowing faintly as energy rippled from her fingertips. The guards froze, sensing her authority, and the bond she shared with me. "Leave him," she commanded. "He is my mate. Anyone who touches him will answer to me." The guards hesitated, then reluctantly backed away, eyes wide with awe. Exhaled, shaking. "You saved me." Her lips curved into a soft smile. "It is what mates do." That night the bond deepened. I could feel her heartbeat in rhythm with mine, her emotions blending with mine in subtle waves. Fear, excitement, curiosity, and affection intertwined. It was overwhelming but comforting. Milky Way ending. Weeks passed, and the palace began to accept the bond as a fact of life. Some courtiers adapted gracefully. Others stewed in quiet resentment. But the princess remained unwavering in her support and presence, and I found my own confidence growing alongside hers. The culmination of the court's acceptance came during the Festival of Stars, an annual event celebrating royal lineage. The princess walked beside me through the streets of Aurelia's capital. Citizens lined the crystal avenues, whispering in amazement as the human who had been chosen by their princess strode beside her openly. At the festival's climax, the princess turned to me. "Do you see now?" she whispered, voice carried only to me through the bond. "This is our world together." I nodded, overwhelmed with gratitude and awe. "Yes, with you." As fireworks shimmered in alien colors across the sky, the princess whispered once more to her friends. This time I could hear it clearly.